welcome to the Kickin Show, brought to you each week by KickinTheTires.net. It's our 13th episode. It's Thanksgiving week, and we are very thankful to be here and thankful for everything that, hey, I'm thankful that the series is done for the year, and hopefully we can start 2021 and be even better and have great things ahead of us. But we've got Zach Catanzarelli, Seth Eggert, and Justin Schuler, plus myself, Jerry Jordan. Kick it off, Justin. Tell us, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Yeah, so episode's going to start a little bit different. We got some pretty sad news coming out of Hendrick Motorsports, so we'll share a little bit of that, as well as some other updates across NASCAR. Seth, as usual, got packed with some good iRacing news, so he's going to share with us some of that, some more silly season updates, and the first ever female play-by-play announcer was announced earlier this week, so we'll let you know what's going on with that. So,
all right. So, for those that don't know, one of the crew members, the tire carrier on the 88 crew at Hendrick Motorsports, was killed along with his newlywed, William, Rowdy, and Blakley Harrell. They were going to Florida for their honeymoon and had a tragic car accident, and they did not survive. We found out that news today. Hendrick Motorsports released a press release statement to the media, sending their best to the families. But man, we travel every week with the sport, and we're all very lucky and very fortunate. You never know what's going to happen, and I feel horrible for all the folks at Hendrick Motorsports and the Blakley and Williams family. They were just starting off their lives together.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Because I think Rowdy, at least, he had been in the sport for a good 6, 7, 8 years or so, right? So he was definitely no stranger.
Yeah, he's no stranger.
He won 2 championships in Xfinity, right? Yeah.
With Junior, I think, or his motorsports team. But yeah, that's like you said, Jerry, like everyone traveling around, like you guys are kind of like a second family kind of thing, because you see each other pretty regularly. I think that's true with any kind of work environment, especially when you have an immediate coworker like that. So it's quite the tragedy.
What has sucked really about this year in general, though, is you mentioned that family. I have friends that are on crews that I saw every single week in 2019. And I saw them, and we were all high-fiving at Daytona, and, then that was it. I haven't seen them since Daytona, because, COVID kicked in right when I got back from India for my vacation. And you think about all those people that you talk to, and you try to reach out to them and hit them up on social media or texting, but we're all busy. If we're not at the track, we're doing other stuff. And to lose a friend, family member, whatever, but if you're in this sport, we're all one big family, and we may be dysfunctional at times, but for the most part, we all care.
Yeah, I'll say I'm a little bit lucky with where I live in Mooresville. Some of my friends in the industry I've been able to catch up with at GoPro Motorplex or elsewhere around town, whether just bumping into them by happenstance or just playing a go-karting outing or something like that. Otherwise, I've been able to keep in touch with some of them via iRacing, and not being able to see them, it's kind of awkward a little bit. I know one actually dropped by the college that I work at the other day just to get out of the house. he just wanted to get out of the house and drove over to the college just to see what classes they were offering. He wasn't actually considering taking any of them. He just wanted to just see different people. So...
tough story. I mean, you're never able to prepare for something like that. I mean, anytime. I mean, I think it was James Hilton in ARCA. He was killed in a car accident as well. I mean, we know. I mean, with this story specifically, crew members, we get to recognize the the brutalness of their job. You know, every so often a car will come by and they'll get nicked, and you see them get hit, and it's like such a shocking moment. I've covered some races where crew members get hurt and they, you know, get their legs broken, get their ankles twisted, and you kind of know that's part of their job and it's part of that risk. But something like this, you just can't ever see coming. And I mean, I just came from a wedding last week, about 2 weeks ago, and just to know what that day means for not just those two people, but their entire families, their mothers, their fathers, their sisters and cousins, it's like one big, great moment. And I guess the only positive to come out of that, even though it's such a horrible tragedy, is that they got to spend however their wedding went. I'm sure it went well, and I hope it was the best day of their lives. And I'm glad they were at least able to spend time with their families and have one good last day together. But that was just, man, one of the probably the worst news of the year. Just terrible to hear.
And in other news, we have, you know, Ken Squire, Vince Welch, Natalie Decker, all diagnosed with COVID-19. Ken, probably the worst of the three that I'm hearing, but he is doing well and getting good care. According to I attribute that to Dave Moody with Sirius Satellite Radio. I've been following Moody's updates. Vince Welch, I just heard about today, and I kind of heard about Natalie yesterday or the day before, whatever.
Yeah, Natalie announced it on social media about 2 or 3 days ago because she was supposed to go and run the Trans Am season finale, I think next weekend, and because of her diagnosis, it cut her season short by the one race. So I wish them all well. Hopefully they can beat it.
Well, look, I mean, COVID-19 is a serious illness. We're very close to having a vaccine out. That's going to take some time to distribute. It affects people differently. You know, some have said that it's not serious. Some have accused me of saying that it's not serious, and I've never said that. What I say is people need to take responsibility for themselves. They need to live their lives and enjoy their lives. And if you get it, you need to take care of it. You need to follow the directions. You need to quarantine. I also advocate, as much as I hate it, I advocate wearing the masks and using hand sanitizer. You know, so it's something we all need to do until this goes away. And one day it will go away and things will get quasi back to normal. But all the best to Ken and to Vince and to Natalie Decker. But that's not the only bad news we've got. Morgan Shephard, Parkinson's disease, diagnosed earlier this week as well. So it's, you know, especially with these older racers, we're seeing stuff happen that we knew was going to happen in this sport as racers get older, as people get older. Our bodies break down. And I hate to see it. Morgan Shephard, I've heard about things that Morgan Shephard has done in his past. He's told me stories. Man, that guy could live life, and he did. But he's also a great Christian, and he loves this sport. And he is. If you ever get a chance to sit down and talk to Morgan Shephard, you really need to do it.
Yeah, he. I know through his charity, he's also taking care of some people that maybe fell by the wayside, whether mentally or physically, that weren't getting the help that they needed over the years. So he's done a lot of good in the sport, out of the sport. Granted, my generation right now, if they don't know the history of the sport, might know him, unfortunately, more for the start in parks than for his victories in the 80s, the way he ran well in the early 90s. He is a passionate driver, not only about religion, but also about racing, and he just never wanted to give up racing. Granted, I know he still has plans to be an owner with Landon Castle driving. Hopefully that can happen next year. So at least there's one positive to look forward to.
Let me give you one example before we move on to some good news about Morgan Shephard. The man has so much respect in the garage that Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart would buy him tires so that he could race in the races, and knowing he wasn't going to finish them, but that's how much respect they had for Morgan Shephard because of
Yeah.
his outreach for this sport. That says a lot.
Yeah, I think that's why Landon Castle got along with him so well, and helped him out with his Xfinity series too, when he drove his car a little bit. So
Wasn't this the first year in 52 years that he didn't race in a National Series race?
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
50 years for NASCAR, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the very first
Yeah,
race
I
was
think it's-
1970. In the Cup
I believe
Series.
it's 50 for NASCAR, 52 if you count ARCA, and Racing Reference doesn't have ARCA stats for
For that.
before 78 or so, or something like that.
Yeah. So I was gonna say I don't think they have all the ARCA stats on Racing Reference, but yeah, Morgan, this is like I mean, he obviously doesn't have 7 championships, but this is like if Richard Petty were still racing today. The guy just you've always heard the phrase like I'll die in a race car. Like I feel like Morgan Shephard is like living that out. Like he would die in a race car, and that's just so cool to see. And not only that, but he still qualifies. Like he still meets minimum pace. That's probably the most impressive thing, is that he's still got a little bit of racing blood left in him. So definitely hope he can get better soon, because I'd love to see him maybe do a few more races here.
All right, now some positive news. A good friend of the sports, good friend of mine, Sydney Lett. If you don't know who she is, she's an up-and-coming country music singer. I say up-and-coming. I have known this girl for years. I have known her since she played in Nashville for on the sidewalks for the NRA. But Sydney Lett had her single "Chasing Trains" debut today on 93.7 The Dog out of Huntington Beach, West Virginia. They gave her a shout on the air, played her song. This is big for any country music or any artist, but for country music to be on FM radio, terrestrial radio, to hear your song. She broke down in tears in case you missed the update on Facebook when she was listening to it. So congrats to Sydney. We love her. She's a huge fan of the sport. Last week, to tell you how much involved in the sport she is, last week she played Brad and Paige Keselowski's charity event, provided the entertainment. So they know, people in the sport know who Sydney is. They know who that she has a passion. She loves NASCAR, and she's a great country music singer.
Cool. I'll have to go check that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Seth, take us into the iRacing world, please, sir.
Okay, well, I'm going to save Monday Night Racing for last.
Oh,
Oh, come on. We have to build this up somehow. So first off, the iRacing Pro Series ran this past Tuesday. And Mitchell D. Young, who is a Red Bull athlete in real life, who has won in Rallycross in real life, who is a championship series driver on iRacing on road courses, is trying his hand to make the Coke Series on ovals. And he flat out walked away with the race last night.
Oh wow.
He won by 3.5 seconds at Auto Club Speedway, caution-free, flawless pit stops, flawless pit entrance and exits, and he started 21st and drove his way through the field. 100-lap race. The only incident on track, and it didn't bring out a caution somehow. A handful of drivers got together, Colin Keister, Brandon Cattell, Stephen Wilson, and Taylor Hurst. They ended up blowing up Taylor Hurst's engine, and Cattell ended up in the outside wall. But outside of that, it was a caution-free race. It was a good race to see the different strategies. Only one driver was able to make the entire race on one pit stop, but he had to go so slow. He dropped from the lead on lap 49 to finish 31st on fumes. So it was just a good race strategy-wise. And Brandon Cattell, circling back to him, we will actually be sponsoring him in the 4 remaining iRacing Pro Series events.
Nice.
So Kickin Tires will be on the number 48.
Is that
on
Jimmy
iRacing.
Johnson's car? Really?
That's,
That's
that's the
right.
number he uses. That's the number he uses.
Like, wait, I didn't know about this. Wait a second. Actually, I know something I don't know if you know about what we're going to do.
And what's that?
We are going to do a throwback paint scheme for our sponsorships.
Yep.
To someone that I admire greatly and think of as a great friend, Ryan Newman.
Nice.
Yeah. Brandon was talking a little bit about that with me, and I showed him the throwback paint schemes I've driven in Monday Night Racing and just in general as well. So we kind of have the same mindset, thrown back to greats in the sport, whether it's current drivers like Ryan Newman or for me, Mike Stefanik, who I threw back to this past weekend. Also for iRacing, I actually have a little surprise for anyone watching this. I have a free 3-month membership for new members. And there is a promo code, so if you enter a giveaway... Here, let me show this a little bit better. I'm not showing you the promo code side, so don't worry.
Yeah, turn it around. Curious.
But if you watch this show and reply to the tweet with this show with hashtag Kickin on iRacing, this membership is good for anyone who does not have iRacing, because this membership is only good for new members. And iRacing is the leading sim racing game for your PC. Developed as a centralized racing and competition service, they provide racing leagues for NASCAR, Grand Prix, sports cars, and dirt and rally car racing. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing. So, again,
we do it every week.
That dirt racing is fun, by the way.
Yes, it is. and again, that hashtag is Kickin on iRacing. So, also in iRacing news, the Monday Night Racing League took place. Parker Klingerman dominated the race and ended up winning after having the right tire strategy. I was running top 15 when I sped on pit road and went back to 30th, and was able to get back up to 15th by the checkered flag.
Not bad.
And I will hand everything off iRacing-wise to Jerry at this point.
I am no longer associated with Monday Night Racing. Kicking the Tires is no longer officially associated with Monday Night Racing. However, Seth's still going to race, I believe. We're still going to cover it. However, what I did do is I pulled our money that we were paying for sponsorship, and it's going to the FTF League. And that is to explain the leagues while I pull up the races we're going to sponsor, Seth.
That is for the fans. It is run by Justin Melillo, who is a longtime staple of esports coverage and eNASCAR coverage. Going back, not even before, I would say going back to the NASCAR racing season 2003 days. So he has been involved in eNASCAR and esports since the very beginning.
He also used to be in the Monday Night Racing League until he got shafted, and he left as well. That's what happens when you don't treat people properly. But we are going to be sponsoring in the Grand National Series over for the fans racing, the Las Vegas race, the South Boston race, the New Smyrna race, the Dega race, and the race at Charlotte. In their Cup Series, which attracts some really big, heavy hitters. I even heard that William Byron accepted their invitation last year to race, but he had a flight that he couldn't make the race. I'm going to work on getting a couple of my driver friends into a few of the races through the sponsorship provisional that we were given. But the Cup races, we have Atlanta, we have the Indy Road Course, we have Nashville, the first race at Nashville. We have the Daytona 2 race, which is right before the playoffs. We also have COTA, which I fought for. I wanted Circuit of the Americas. And we will finish out for the fans racing with the Phoenix finale, Kicking the Tire sponsorship.
And and I believe their Daytona 500, which opens their season, is in January. And I want to say it's in January because February 7th, Podium Esports, which broadcasts Monday Night Racing, and I believe they're broadcasting several of the For the Fans Racing League races as well. Their Daytona 500 is February 7th. Yes, that is Super Bowl Sunday, but they're doing a whole week of speed weeks as well. So everybody's kind of working to not overlap as well, at least the major leagues on iRacing.
Well, I want to point out that this has been in the works for a while before Monday night, but Monday night was kind of the kicker, kind of clinched the whole deal for me, and a lot of people spoke out, and I appreciate everybody who spoke out in my favor. And in favor of kicking the tires and fairness. I got into iRacing because it's fun, and you need to get into it because it's fun. The folks at iRacing are great. They're great to work with. It's great entertainment. It's not that expensive, and you know what? You can kill some time and meet some new friends and make a lot of new acquaintances that I never even dreamed of. But we will be, as I said in previous shows, this was the culmination of a whole lot of work that Seth has put together to make sure that we can get sponsorships, and we will have a sponsorship in the Fake 500. We will have Catel's sponsorship, and we will have the for the fans racing league as well. And we're not done. That doesn't mean we're done. I'm still trying to get the lower half dash done, and maybe even a couple other sponsorships in the works that Seth can. I can pile on his plate.
Yeah, I can try. And remember, there is a free membership that's being offered, 3 months free. That is a $30 value. And again, the hashtag is Kickin on iRacing.
There you go.
Boom.
We're not only playing, we support iRacing with our dollars ourselves. So, we do not have a sponsorship with iRacing yet. Steve, we're going to be hitting you up.
Right.
So expect that email. But we love it, seriously. And I think I'm going to get Justin to drag out his wheel. Zach, we've got to get you a setup so that you can come back and race. And it can't just be me and Seth. Because I suck.
Turn my car around, maybe I'll join for a few months.
I would.
Well, here's the thing. That only gets you the basic membership, which is Charlotte Motor Speedway, Lanier, which is a short track that no longer exists, USA International Speedway, another short track that doesn't exist anymore, a handful of dirt tracks, a handful of road courses, including Laguna Seca, Summit Point, and I think 6 cars. So you would still have to pay for everything else.
Nah, it's not that bad. It's a great deal.
That's a great start. That's a great start.
It's not that bad.
You can race basically for 3 months for free to practice on those tracks, which is exactly kind of sort of what I didn't do.
But what this does do, again, it's 3 months for free. You get to try the service out. You get to experience whether it's myself and Jerry and Justin do, or William Byron, Parker Klingerman, Kyle Busch, or even the Coke Series drivers, Malik Ray, Nick Ottinger, Matt DiBenedetto,
Bowman,
Brandon Cattell. I could keep listing names, and granted, some of them might not be household names. You even have IndyCar drivers. You have F1 drivers. I want to say I was in a session one time about 10 years ago with Lewis Hamilton, but you never know who you're going to bump into or pop in a session with. I know Max Verstappen and I believe Lando Norris have a team on iRacing in the road course series.
Ty Dillon dropped into one of my races that I sponsored once. It's just a random race that we did for Kicking the Tires, and I announced it on Twitter, and Ty Dillon dropped in. So, that was kind of cool. Or at least they said it was Ty Dillon. It looked like his account. They're pretty strict about that. So
yeah, they are strict about that. And that's why I'm explicitly saying, because on the card it explicitly says this is for new members only. And if anyone is trying to basically
won't
have a
work, I already
second
tried.
membership, well, I was going to say is, well, yeah, it won't apply to a current one, but if anyone is trying to do a second membership, I do know how to look this up on iRacing. Not only am I a member, I wrote for iRacing, their iRacing news outlet for 4 years. I know how to look this information up.
Actually, this is a topic. This is a topic that I have for you for off camera, because I have an original iRacing account
Yeah.
that I never used, and I need to know how to delete it. But
That might be a question for Steve Myers.
I'm sure they can make it happen.
Well, I believe deactivated accounts and inactive accounts, I want to say, are automatically deleted after 4 years of inactivity.
Well, it wouldn't let me use my original name, so who knows? But okay, moving on to more important things. News in the sport. If you remember last week, I said that John Hunter Nemechek was supposed to be going to Kyle Busch Motorsports. Guess where John Hunter Nemechek ended up?
Officially,
Motorsports.
JHN to KFB in MMXXI. If anyone's
He will
into
be driving the
all the
number
letters.
4. He will be driving the number 4.
You know, you get your news here first.
Yeah. And he'll be
Toyota
driving,
Tundra.
Yep. He'll be driving the number 4 Toyota Tundra, replacing Raphael Lessard. Lessard won at Talladega this year in the Truck Series. Lessard will be moving on to GMS Racing. Right now, it is a 12-race deal, although they are working on filling in the other 10 races funding-wise. He joins Sheldon Creed, Tyler Ankrum, Zane Smith, and Chase Purdy. And at this point, I think the average age of that team might be 21.
Wow. Hey, I love Raphael. I love Raphael Lessard. He's a great guy. I met him. Let's see, last year at Iowa. He ran a race there, and he was in the airport with his family. So I know I've told that story before, but just walked up to him and said, "Hey, man, you got a good race, and nice to meet you." So glad to see him doing great things in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like he was just one of those guys who I felt they really struggled early in this season. His first 10 races, he didn't even have a top 10 finish. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, I don't know how this year's going to go for him. I mean, he's with Kyle Busch Motorsports, an incredible team. And just the whole deal with the 4, putting him in that truck kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. He had such little experience. And that lack of performance did show, but I mean, he really surprised me about halfway through the season. And just something clicked, and I felt like the experience finally matched what the truck was able to do. And he started bringing those results. He had the 3rd at the Daytona Roval, a few 6th, and he got the win at Talladega and had that great run at Martinsville that didn't end well, but he ended the season off with the top 5 at Phoenix. So I really felt like he improved from the start of the year all the way to the end. And him getting with GMS, I mean, I think that's something that many drivers have been able to do lately, but those little surges that we saw from him, I think it can really lead to some success for next year. And of course, in his place would be John Hunter. And I think in terms of competition for KBM, that's a great move. And that's someone who's been able to run for wins for years in that series. And really, I mean, I kind of looked through, and this is really the first time that Kyle Busch has hired an experienced driver in the Truck Series. You think about Eckes and Braxton, Bell, Eric Jones, William Byron. I mean, they were all brand new. They were all super young. They had a year experience, maybe. But maybe Joey Coulter. I mean, I think that was his 3rd year at the time, back in 2013. But other than that, I mean, bringing John Hunter on board is really a trend breaker. I mean, John Hunter, despite his young age, this is going to be his 9th year in the series. And not all of them are full-time, but he's already a winner. He's been in Xfinity. He's been in full-time Cup. So it's going to be something new for Kyle and those guys to have an experienced guy, but I think it's going to be a win both ways.
Also, we had a kind of a surprise. I think it shocked a few people. Matt Tifft and BJ McLeod starting a Cup Series team. And BJ is going to drive for that
the
organization. Yeah, I mean, it's
Live Fast Motorsports.
Yeah, Live Fast Motorsports, and that's gonna be cool. Matt Tifft, for those who don't know, had first he had a brain issue and he had to have surgery, and you know, whatever they do when you have an issue with your brain, they opened him up, and he's got a cool scar. If you ask him, he'll show you. But and I'm not being facetious. He's just that open about it. But he then started having seizures, and he can't drive right now. So he didn't want to get out of the sport. So he's like, hey, let's get a charter, which they were able to secure, and start a cup team. And BJ's going to drive for him. And look, BJ's a great guy. He's really cool. He's also a safe driver. From what I've seen, I don't see BJ tearing up a lot of equipment because BJ has an Xfinity team that he knows what it's like to put that money into that team. So I think it's a good combination for a startup team to have Tifft and BJ together like they are. And they've got an alignment with Stewart-Haas Racing.
I'm actually looking back at his stats right now. Out of 156 Xfinity starts, he's been right at the finish in 126 of them. For Cup, out of 57 starts, he's been right out at the finish in 44. And for trucks, out of 39 starts, he was right at the finish in 10 of them. But
well, you got to remember, a lot of that's starting parks.
Yeah, I was going to say some of those are starting parks. But overall, what I'm trying to say here is he's not known, like you said, for tearing up equipment. I can only remember of 2 incidents this year in which he was involved in an accident. One at Bristol, in which he got turned after the caution waved. And then I think the other one was either Daytona or Talladega, and when the big one happens, you kind of are at the mercy of whether or not there's a hole in front of you.
And also at Bristol, when Hamlin spun from the lead.
Oh, yeah.
Into BJ, he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Wait, speaking of that, it takes me back to iRacing. Sometimes when you're racing and you have no damage on your car and everybody that's supposed to be an expert in front of you crashes, you do have your best to stop. It's just like in real life. You can't, and you end up hitting somebody. It just happens that way sometimes. Oh, and I've never won a late model race either.
But
that's a shout out to Garrett Smithley, by the way.
But I will say this about BJ and the Live Fast Motorsports deal. I don't know if that affects BJ's Xfinity team or not at all.
No, it's separate. I was on the call.
I thought
it
was separate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
I was on the call for that.
They are aligned with Stewart-Haas Racing, so to a certain degree, they're kind of taking the spot that Go Fast Racing held up until this year.
I think they bought 12 cars from Stewart-Haas. So, they got 12 cars. They got 12 bullets in the chamber. Let's see what they can do. Look, they're not going to go out there and win. Okay, I mean, I guess they could. They could win a Daytona or a Talladega or something, or win a fuel mileage or a rain delay. I mean, anything can happen. But they're going out there to build their program, and that's what people need to realize about these backmarker teams. They're trying to build something so that they can be a Hendrick Motorsports someday. And more power to them. By God, we need those people in this sport. That's what. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any drivers.
I mean, a lot of people forget Furniture Row Racing before Truex won the championship started as a start and park team just a decade prior. So can't just cut out these start and parks or these backmarker teams just because they're underfunded or just getting started. Who knows where they're going to be 10 years from now? So it's gonna be cool, and especially since they have that alignment with Stewart-Haas, they've got one of the best organizations right there. Backing them up, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, with Live Fast Motorsports, I mean, it's not just them. It's also, I mean, we got at least 3 new teams joining Cup next year with Trackhouse, 2311, and then them as well. Maybe the Money Racing team, that number 50, that doesn't seem to have much action going on, but really it's 3 new teams, one for each manufacturer as well. I mean, with Germain and LFR closing, I really didn't think there would be much optimism going into 2021 in terms of the state of ownership. But I mean, those were 2 big blows in that market for me. But to add 3 slots into those 2 that are gone, I mean, wow, that's that's something really cool. I mean, new owners, young owners, some who have invested their whole lives into the sport, and some who are out of the sport and coming in for the first time. So I think the competition side, reality is going to hit them pretty hard in some capacity. Like most fresh teams, they have a tough start. But I think they're all in good hands. You guys talked about BJ McLeod, and whether it's solid equipment with 2311's Toyota support, or someone like BJ who's accustomed to caring for his own cars and his own people, or a smart businessman like Justin Marks with Trackhouse. I mean, it's a wide variety there, and I think they're all going to do well in their own set in the field, and can't wait to see how they do.
One more shout out, Ryan Truex, a pretty cool little announcement he did with kind of the faded text in different parts of his picture, but he announced he's going over to Nice Motorsports in 2021. So good to see him getting a full-time ride with a competitive organization there.
Yeah, really good for him. Kind of similar feelings to that of Jeb Burton that we mentioned last week. Another guy who has a name, but he just really hasn't had it easy. 2021 is probably not going to be that easy for him, even though he does have a full-time ride. I mean, this year was a tough one for Nice. I mean, I think they had 16 drivers and 4 trucks. I mean, I'm personally happy that they're able to run a full-time truck, given all the issues that they had last year. But I think either way, it's going to be nice for them to have one truck with one driver to kind of lean on, someone who's consistent and experienced. And I'm happy that Ryan got the nod. He's been never able to win, but if you've paid attention to him in trucks and Xfinity the last few years, he's done pretty much everything but that. So I think it's a positive move, and it'll definitely help both parties next year.
And then kind of coming out of the driver's seat, well, sort of, going into the booth, but Fox announced that Jamie Little is going to be the play-by-play announcer for Fox Sports with their coverage with the ARCA Series races. She's the first female to do that, and for those of you who don't know, Jamie Little has been the pit road reporter for, I believe, Fox Sports for quite a few years now, but she's been all around the series. She's been a pit reporter and an analysis for ESPN, TNT. So she's got quite the resume. She in fact won the 2008 Toyota Celebrity Race back when they were running those, and when she beat Mike Skinner. So she also knows how to wheel one of those cars too. So
did you know that she has a video game?
Yeah, it's good that she also has a video game.
He does. In 2000,
I know that.
In 2005, MX World Tour featuring Jamie Little. I know this because I interviewed her at one point, and I was enamored with the fact that she has a video game.
And not only, yes, she is the first woman to be a play-by-play announcer for motorsports in the U.S., but also she did a handful of play-by-play for practice for the Cup Series and Xfinity Series last year for Fox when I want to say it was when either Mike Joy wasn't there or others weren't around to be able to. So she has a little bit of experience doing it. So I believe she's replacing Dave Reef for the ARCA coverage. So it'll be her and Phil Parsons in the booth. Which right now the ARCA schedule is still being announced. I know Daytona, Toledo, Pocono, and Talladega have been announced. So there's still somewhere around 16, maybe 17 races. I don't know what kind of schedule they're going to have next year. But assuming it's the typical 20, 21 race schedule, there's still quite a few to be announced.
Yeah, I'm sure Sonoma's going to be right around the corner of being announced too, from what I'm hearing.
That was announced for ARCA West.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was then. But yeah, no, I'm really excited for her. She's one of the sweetest ladies in the garage, and I it's no joke. I kind of want to watch all the ARCA races and see how she does. I'm really excited for her. So
She's gonna do great. I guess, are we pretty close to wrapping up the show? I mean, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I mean, that's I don't see anything major that we need to talk about in the schedule. Anybody got anything they want to add? What do they do? What's Thanksgiving plans?
This year, maybe just running some iRacing for me. Outside that, what about you, Zach?
Yeah, we're getting a family together. Little less than usual, of course, but yeah, I'm up here for the next week and a half or so. So we just cooked up some desserts today. We're on dessert duty, so we got that done.
Yeah, I got to figure out what duty I'm on, but I pretty much just see my parents pretty much all the time because they live like 2-3 minutes from here. So that's pretty much all we're doing Thanksgiving with this year, kind of like what you were saying, Zach. So, but yeah, now that you mentioned that you're on dessert duty, I need to figure out what kind of food duty I'm on.
You don't need to move to Texas if you've got grandparents right there, because when you and Rachel have kids, you've got built-in babysitters.
That's right.
Well, going back to
you see what I did? You said that I did there, right? Yeah.
We are not expecting. Oh my gosh.
Going back to the Thanksgiving dinner duties, I am on the side dishes duty. So I've already gotten everything to make a butternut squash casserole and a broccoli and corn casserole.
Well,
so
I already picked up the ham from Honey Baked Hams.
Oh, yum.
So that was I did that a couple days ago. Went to Houston to do that, and other than that, it's gonna be a party here, man. We got the disco lights in the background. It's gonna be chilling out, loving life.
Nice.
So no, it's gonna be a very low key weekend, really, to be honest with you. So, but I like my new lights, man. I like the lights. It's kind of cool.
I feel like those lights should change whenever you're in a different mood. So, like, if you're ready to go on a rant.
Like, if I'm in a good mood, I can do that if I'm in a happy mood.
Yeah, like that or green.
When I'm talking about Monday Night Racing, I'll just do that.
well, I not to steal the thunder from Jerry right now, but be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and again, the hashtag for that contest, Kickin on iRacing.
Thanks, everybody. That's going to do it here for us at KickinTheTires.net, the Kickin' Show. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and always remember, family is first, guys. Take care.